I guess I can tell you guys the timeline of how things went down for me after graduating. So I graduated in May, and like I told you guys, I took the summer to enjoy myself. Like, I wasn't studying or anything. So when September came, I started studying for my boards. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really study much, so I took it the first time, and I had to take it a second time. Ooh, I never really confessed that. But yes, so I had to take my boards twice. So I took it the first time, didn't pass, and if you don't know about the NCLEX, the way it works is basically you can take between 75 and 265 questions, and the test changes as you take it. So you start off with the easy questions, and as you start to answer those right, they give you harder and harder and harder ones, and it gets to a certain point where you're getting so many right, that's when the test cuts off. So if you're super smart and you're answering all the questions right, you're gonna pass in like 75 questions, which is the least amount. So it's like, oh wow, 75, ha, that's me, you know. But then if you're like getting some wrong, get some right, get some wrong, get some right, then you start to take more and more questions. And the first time I took it, I answered all 265 questions. So that basically means like I was teeter-tottering the whole time. And me, I hate long tests. That was my least favorite thing in college. So when I got past 150, I was like, holy damn. But anyway, didn't pass. So after I didn't pass that first time, I have to wait 45 days. So the first time I took it was in October. You have to wait 45 days before you can schedule a new test. So I really cracked down on myself, and I started studying like diligently. I guess I can call her like a mentor. I met another nurse through my neighbor, and she was an NP. She was a professor at one of the nursing schools in Boston, Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. I think that's what the acronym stands for. But she was like, you need to get UWorld. UWorld is a program to help nursing students study for their boards. Everyone swears by it. I swear by it because I'm gonna tell y'all about the miracle that happened. So she was like, get UWorld, do 100 questions a day. And that's exactly what I did. One of my coworkers, she was like, oh, you wanna use my UWorld to help study, so you can help like study, or so it can help you pass the test. At first I was like, nah, it's fine. I got something from my school. The program my school gave me was trash. Now, I should have taken her up on her offer the first time, because the second time she was like, oh, use my UWorld, and I was like, bet, I'm gonna use it. Because all my friends from nursing school, they were saying, this is what made me pass, this is what helped me pass. So I was using her UWorld. There's like 2,000 questions, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself at least 3 weeks before I book my new test date so I can get through all the questions. So I did 100 questions every day, not all at once because you don't want to tire yourself out, but just throughout the day. I was doing questions at work, doing questions at the nail salon, doing questions before I went to bed. I was always doing questions. And after a certain point, I was like, let me just go back to the questions that maybe not a lot of people got right, because it shows you the percentage of people who got the question right. So some questions, it'd be like only 18% of the population got it right, and I was part of that 18%. So I was like, okay, good, like that's a really hard question that I'm answering. So I kept doing those harder questions, or the questions I kept getting wrong. And I think I waited longer than the 45 days to rebook my test, but I booked it for right before Thanksgiving. But it was like a week before, and I was like, damn, I don't feel ready. Like, I wasn't getting the scores I wanted on the test, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna push it back. Like, it's okay. Like, I wanted the second time to be the last time I took this test. I was like, if I need to push it back, I'm gonna push it back. So I pushed it back to after Thanksgiving, and I booked it for December 7th. Kept doing those questions, and my test was supposed to be December 7th at 8 a.m. It was the day before, and I could not sleep at all. I was doing questions, like doing practice tests, getting them wrong, like freaking myself out. I did not go to bed that day until like 3 or 5 in the morning, like somewhere between that. And the test was for 8 a.m. I think I went to bed at 3 a.m. and the test was supposed to be at 8 a.m. Thank goodness the test center was 5 minutes away from my house, because I was going crazy. Like, I had no sleep before one of the biggest tests of my life. But anyway, woke up for the test at 8 a.m. wasn't tired or anything. Like told my I made sure I was calm, because the first time I took it, I was like a nervous wreck. I was crying, TJ Maxx, buying stuff I shouldn't have been buying, like on the phone with my mom. Like I didn't tell anybody I was taking my test that day, so like nobody knew what I was going through. My mom was even in state, and you know, times like that, you really need your mom around you. So I was just a hot mess the first time, but the second time I was calm, relaxed. There was like the room they had us in before we took the test was full of people, and I was like, you know what, don't worry about them, Carrie, you got this. They're not even taking the same test as you. So I got into the test. I was answering questions. I can't even remember a single topic I answered a question about. I was just going through the questions, and like for me, none of the questions I was like, oh yeah, that's the answer for sure. Like there were some like that, but for the most part I was just like clicking answers. And then I'm the type of person, if I know I have a lot of time during the test, I'm gonna take a nap. So I was getting close to the 75 questions. Remember I said 75 is the least amount of questions you can take. So I got to 75 and the test didn't cut off. I was like, bet, I'm gonna take a nap. There was a camera right in front of me because they watch every move. I looked right at the camera, gave it a nod, and went like that, and I took a nap. But then that nap was short-lived, so I was like, let me just hurry up and finish this test. So I got to 75 questions, started answering more, went to 76, 77, answered question 78, and then it cut off. And I was like, what? Like I was looking around the room, like I wasn't trying to make it look like I was cheating, but I was looking around for like the instructor, like what's going on, like my test just shut off. So I stood up and she was like, yeah, your test is done. And she was chatting it up with me afterwards. And people say that the instructors know right away if you pass, but they just can't tell you. But she was chatting it up, and I told her like, oh, this was my second time, and she was like, oh, you probably passed. Like my son took it a few times too. He passed. Da, da. So I was like, I feel like this lady is trying to hint at me, and I was like, maybe you did pass the Carrie, because like who's gonna fail in 78 questions? Like you definitely did better than the first time around, and you took all the questions the first time. Like there's no way you failed. But I was like, you never really know. And it's like this little trick you can do to find out if you failed or passed. And when I failed the first time, the trick like indicated that I failed, and then the second time it indicated that I passed. I was like, okay, maybe your girl did pass her test. So I was like, let me not say nothing. I'll wait the 2 days to get my unofficial results. And 2 days later, I was screaming through my house. My mom was screaming through the house because I passed my test in 78 questions when the least you could take is 75. And I was like, wow, this is such a turnaround for the kid. I was so like proud of myself, because like the fact that I had failed the first time really got me down. And I know nurses at my job who have taken it once, have taken it a few times. And like one thing I told them, but yeah, I know people who've taken it one time or taken it a few times, and one thing I kept telling myself is like, that's not gonna change the nurse you're gonna be. Like that's not gonna change like how you are when you actually start the job. So I made sure to like drill that into my head and not let it get to me. And one thing that really helped me pass, I believe, is like telling myself words of affirmation, because the first time I was like, I'm gonna fail. I'm probably gonna fail the first time. And my friends would be like, why would you say that to yourself? And I look back like, why would I say that to myself? And like the second time around, I was like, you know what, you're gonna pass. Like you got this, you're gonna get it. And I did. So that was in the beginning of December. And then December 31st, New Year's Eve, I started my first shift as a nurse. I wasn't supposed to be there that day, but the first day I was supposed to go, I was sick. And I was like, I really gotta get this out the way before the new year. So I went to work, got my first shift done and over with, and then I went to go celebrate New Year's with my friend. And now, so after, okay, so at my job, you're on orientation for 3 months when you start as a new nurse. So December 31st started my 3 months, and basically like I was going with the new year. So I think my first day off of orientation was like March 22nd, 21st, around there. Like when you look at it as a calendar, it's not 3 months because it wasn't to the end of March, but it was 12 weeks. That's what they do it based off of, 12 weeks or 3 like scheduled periods. So I was on orientation for 12 weeks. I had a great orienter, is that what you call it? but the nurse who oriented me, she was great. Like, I learned so much. People at my job are always saying, like, what's your orientation? You saw so much. Like, I've been on this floor for 5 years, so I've seen a lot, but like with my orientation, I truly feel like I got to do everything that I could possibly do on my floor. And that was really important to me because I'm that person, I need to see everything. I need to do everything, or else I'm not gonna feel ready. So I definitely got the orientation I needed, and I feel like I got one of the best orientation on my floors, because there's a lot of new nurses on my floor right now who graduated at the same time as me, but they started working before me or whatever. But yeah, my orientation was great. I've been off orientation for, this is like within the 8th week. So by the end of this week, so like this, what's the end of this week? Not the 9th. Hold on, let me pull up my calendar. Okay, so by the 16th, which is the end of this week, I would have been on my own for 8 weeks, and it has been a good 8 weeks so far. Like, I've had some ups, some downs, like some busy days, some crazy days. One thing I realized, like when I first started orientation, I used to be so tired, but now I've gotten used to it. But since I've been on my phone, it's been great. Like, my coworkers are awesome. Like, they will never let you drown. Like, there's always help when I need it. Like, there's been times when my patient, I'm like, oh, something going on, like, where's the doctor at? And everyone is hands on board to help, especially during this time that we're dealing with, like, the coronavirus. Like, I did not expect to be thrown into this as a new grad. Like, I did not see this coming. Now, I don't work on one of the corona floors, but we're pretty much taking care of all the other patients who don't have coronavirus, and the only other patients in the hospital are patients who are truly sick and like need a lot of care. So even though we're not taking care of like the patients who have the virus, we're taking care of people who are really sick and need all of our help. So it takes a strain on you and like your mental, your physical, your everything. So it's still not easy, but I'm getting through it. Like, it's not that bad. Like, I don't know. Like, there's days where I leave work and I'm just like, damn, I feel like I did good today. Like, it just, if I'm ever feeling down about myself or doubting my abilities as a nurse, like, there's days where I come home and I'm just like, nah, you're that nurse. Like, you may not know it now. Like, you don't know everything right now, but you're on the right path to know everything you need to know. Like, you're doing the damn thing. But yeah, so that's my timeline of like my 1 year post grad. I'll do another video once I'm 6 months, once I've been 6 months as a nurse. Yeah, I'll do another video of like my 6-month update as a nurse. So that's gonna be like at the end of June. But yeah, that's my 1 year post grad update for you guys. I feel like I didn't even answer that many questions, but like, yeah, that's what it's been like. If there's any nursing students watching this, what would my advice be to you? What would I say? So one thing I would say is that, like, so when I started my senior year of nursing school, I was like, I don't know how I'm about to be a nurse. Like, I'm not prepared. I don't think I know enough. Like, I was like, you cannot put me on the floor and expect me to take care of patients very well. But by the end of my senior year, I had a totally different attitude. One, they make you do a mentorship, which is like an internship for nursing. Like, you know how everyone else has internships, like business people have internships? For us, we call it a mentorship, or at least at my school, we call it a mentorship. My mentor, she was awesome too. And I was on a surgical floor, and I work on a surgical floor now, so it wasn't much different, but that really helped me like have confidence in myself that when I start working as a nurse, like, I'll be okay. And like, you're never gonna be left high and dry in nursing, or at least not at my job. I don't know about other places because I haven't been there, so I can't really say. But I had a lot of doubts when I first started my senior year, and now that I'm 1 year out from graduation, I'm like, I was worried for nothing. Like, I had the right preparations that I needed. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect as a nurse. Like, whew, honey, every day we can grow and learn, okay? But I definitely feel good about it. I feel good about being a nurse. Wow, I'm really a nurse. Crazy. I'm really a nurse, guys. All before I'm 23. But yeah, I guess that's it. So, like I said, I didn't expect to be thrown into a pandemic like this after I got off of orientation. So when I got off of orientation, that was when like the coronavirus really started making its way to the US for real. So like I was on my own, having to like kind of see other states like have more cases, and then seeing people like seeing hospitals take action to prevent the coronavirus from spreading. Like, I did not expect this at all. But since we've been in it, like, at first I was like really scared and nervous. Like, I was nervous about working in the hospital and bringing the virus back home to my house, because I have a sister who has really bad asthma, I have a mother who has a compromised immune system, and I have an 80-year-old grandfather who live in my house. Like, those are 3 people who really cannot get sick from this virus. So I was like, how am I gonna go to work and then have to come home? Like, that was the most nerve-wracking thing to me. And like, for me, I'd be emotional, so low-key brought me to tears. But like, that was my biggest fear with this coronavirus. And like, now as like we're getting close to like the 2-month mark or whatever, it's like, I know the threat is still out there, but it doesn't scare me anymore, because I know what I need to do to keep my family safe. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I go to work, they provide me with scrubs, I take those scrubs off, I change into my own clothes, I wash my hands, wipe down my phone. Like, I try and bring disposable things to work, so I'm not bringing those germs back to my house. Like, there's been so many things I come in contact being at work, like C. diff, MRSA, VRE. None of that stuff scares me. But this coronavirus is like, whoo, child, like, we did not see this coming. But I just gotta take it one day at a time. Like, I see states trying to open things, I'm just like, y'all are crazy. They want to start, well, it's just, it's wild. But yes, I guess that's it. Ooh, your girl, a little bit of a chatterbox, but make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on all my social media down below.